Hello, everyone. It's a very hot summer's evening. We are back with another review. I, of course, your gracious host with the
Oh,
usual
no,
shit.
give over. You can give the gracious host here,
Okay,
it's
okay.
fine.
You've got your regular two hosts, of course, Purple Midnight 8, joined by my fiance,
Fallen.
Amelia,
Oh,
or Fallen Petals, whatever. The Obsidian Nook, Petal ASMR, whatever the fuck.
fucking
Everything. We are also joined
by
by
a
our
very
usual,
special.
our third guest who hasn't been with us for a while. It's not Morgan.
Oh,
I'll
fuck
make that
no.
clear. Who has not been here for about 19 movies or
I thought you
something.
were going to say 19 years. I was like, yeah, it feels like it,
I
doesn't
feel
it?
like it, yeah. We are joined, of course, by the Mr. Silver.
The one and only.
The one and only boy is back on the laps. He's had a bit of a health scare recently. If you've watched the other reviews, he's sort of been sulking under the bed a bit. But he is back. He is sat on the lap. There is a fan on as well, so if you hear that, I do apologise. But he is back. He is cuddly, and he is ready to be a part of the channel again, aren't you, big boy?
Yeah.
So anyway, we'll get back into the meat of things. We
The
are here with.
way you're his long lost lover.
Anyway, we are back with the Scooby Doo live action films. This week we are looking at Scooby Doo 2 or Scooby Doo 2 Monsters Unleashed. This is the last good live action Scooby Doo film before it gets
Hmm.
crappy. Because mainly it's not the good cast. It turns into a bunch of I don't know who the cast are, but we'll get into them in the future. But for now, we'll just leave it with the second one
Hmm.
before it gets too stupid and shit.
Yeah.
So this movie, of course, directed by Raha Gosnell and written by James Gunn, same as the first film. So if you
Which will explain why, obviously the first one's a classic, but it will explain why the second one was really good as well.
yeah, wasn't so well received for some reason.
I don't
Despite, as
understand
I
why.
said when we watched it, it's a lot more faithful
Oh,
to the source material. But no, excuse me. So a movie begins,
sorry.
of course, like all good films do. They begin.
He's gonna do like, oh, by the way, guys, he's gonna do merch with that.
I'm gonna, yeah, I probably, nah, I don't know.
He's gonna charge like 20 quid a piece plus
20
shipping.
quid for YouTuber merch isn't that bad. It's if people want it, I'll do it. But for now, I will not. I do not have any idea. So, a movie begins with that's the famous line that starts all of the reviews.
So think about it.
Okay, but it is on the channel. Okay. Our movie begins with a limo pulling up, designed to look like a mystery machine from the Scooby Doo cartoons, and of course the film. It's not in the films very much though, is it? It's more in the second. It's barely. It's not in the first one that much. Second one, it's in a lot more because they drive around in it, but the first one, it
Mm.
barely appeared. One by one, the gang emerges. In order, I will have Fred, Daphne, Velma, Scooby, and Shaggy. All the returning cast from the first one, which is surprising. Because usually with sequels, someone backs out, and then you have the awkward recasting. Uh, in that order, we have Freddie Prinze Jr., Sarah Michelle Gellar, Linda Cardellini, Matthew Lillard, and Neil Fanning,
And fun
respectively.
fact, Daphne and
Freddie Prinze Jr. and Sarah Michelle Gellar, if you didn't know, are married in real life, which makes
weird.
this on-screen romance really fucking weird.
Yeah, because they're like married in real life, so you'd think they'd be comfortable as shit acting in front of each other. It didn't feel like that though,
Well, it's like
and it's fun.
in Scream. Did you know Dewey and Gail, the news reporter, they were married in real life for a long time.
Are they not married
I
anymore?
don't I don't know. Google. But yeah, it's always weird when you see a film and it's like the some of the people Scream is what I want. I want to go watch Scram. Scram's my favourite. No. It's weird seeing cast members that have like dated or married in real life. I can't even remember Dewey's name. David something, I think.
Good man. Yeah.
Let me have a look.
I'm not telling him to lay down. I'm telling the cat guy.
Courtney Cox. Courtney Cox is or was married to David Arquette. They were married between 1999 and 2013. So while that was the original Scream, no, just after Scream, all the way up till Scream 4. So they separated before the reboot. That is a horrible picture of David Arquette they have on Google. Look at that.
How did they manage to pull that one off for the new Scream then? Well, not this one, the one before.
When was that one? Was that 2021? No, 2022.
Because Dewey dies, don't he?
Spoilers for that film. But to be fair, a whole nother film has come out since then, so get a grip. Oh, was it this? I honestly can't tell. It's coming up with a new cast as well, so I'm just a bit lost. Well, yeah, they weren't together then, but I think they're still on good terms. I think that's why they're able to still do it. It's just very awkward because but in the film, they're also sort of like, will they, won't they, like in the original. Anyway, enough about Scream. We'll get to those films eventually. We've still got to get through the parodies with Scary Movie first.
So was like, why don't you just do a view of my life, Mia?
One is Magic 10p's.
He winked at me. He was like, yeah.
Do that. Anyway, so they all take turns speaking with fans that resemble them. It's all like, it is really good. Like the like whoever did the costume designs and the casting for those like fan groups when they all get out did a good job.
Mm.
Daphne's got all her fashionies. No, Daphne has them two fucking creeps that have her face tattooed on their chests. That was weird. It's well done. It's very silly. A reporter named Heather, played by Alicia Silverstone. Don't know her from anything. Sorry. If you do, good on you. Emilio's just cleaning up Silver's bad eye. Bless him. He can't do it himself. Stops Fred for a talk and then heads inside with the gang.
So I'm trying to clean his nose. The more I clean it, the more snot that's coming out. It's kind of
Lovely. That's the real horror here, ladies and gentlemen. Daphne reminds Scooby and Shaggy about the manners as they walk past several of their old captured ghosts. They're basically like in the cartoons. It's the old costumes used by. What was the point? Was there ever any point to the people wearing the costumes, or did they just dress up spooky for whatever reason? There was mysteries behind it, but it's just like middle-aged men getting. It's like a furry convention. But yeah, it's the old costumes of that them old creeps used. Velma meets her love interest, Patrick, played by Seth Green. Famous for his role as Dr. Evil's son in Austin Powers, but as Amelia would probably know him, the voice of Chris Griffin from Family Guy.
Oh.
Yeah, Seth Green is but he does a lot to do with Adult Swim with their Robot Chicken stuff. He's Chris Griffin. He is the man in Family Man. He looks a lot older now. But anyway, he's in a lot. He's like a character actor. He's good at what he does. He's very young in this though. He's got to be in his. Well, no, this is 2004. This was only 19 years ago. He looks old now.
Oh, don't.
Yeah, I'll stop. Who she introduces as the museum's curator to Daphne. Velma and Patrick nerd flirt and almost agree to go on a date together.
Oh, guys, we have 3 pages. We're going to be here for a long time. Go and get
We
some
do not.
popcorn.
We do not have 3 pages. It's like 2 and an extra paragraph on the last one.
You're going to shirt with this movie beginning. It's going to be.
It's gonna be one for you, going. Get popcorn, guys. It's a long one. I've lost where I was now. So yeah, they nerd flirt. It's a lot of science-sounding words. It's early 2000s sci-fi speak. But they don't go on a date because, as we find out later on, Velma is very awkward and anxious about romance, basically, and that irritates me because a lot to do with the original TV series is that Velma and Shaggy sort of have that on-off relationship, sort of like, will they? As I said to you, will they? Won't they? Like with Scream, but then they don't get together, or there's no like flirtiness between them in the films.
Personally, they really could have took this so far if they had, you know, 'cause you've got Daphne and Fred together, and then you've got Shaggy and Velma. That would be like the perfect
It would have made sense.
couples, wouldn't it? To
But
be,
like with the first one, they've given like both of these films, they've given Shaggy and now Velma love interests that aren't each other,
mm,
but don't expand on the relationship between the two of them. As I say, the will they, won't they balance that the original cartoons had. That doesn't include the shitty reboot Velma or whatever it was called.
well,
I would love to do that, but it's so fucking bad.
I remember watching like the cartoons when obviously I was a kid, but I haven't watched them. So, but they did do a Scooby Doo animation series recently of Guess Who or something,
Guess who Scooby Doo?
something like that of season 1 and 2.
I think someday we will get to some of the animated films as well. Because I know you and your late mother loved Scooby Doo. That was like your
Mm.
thing together.
Well, I more levitated towards Scooby Doo. Mum was more Garfield,
Hmm.
but obviously it's highly unlikely that we will ever sit there and watch the first Garfield and review it.
We might do the Bill Murray Garfield because it's so fucking shit.
No, I meant the first one is because a really sad story. 2 days before Mum passed, that was the last film we watched together.
Is it Garfield the movie with Bill this fucking live action one?
Yes, it's that one.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. But we may get round to that in the future. We want to get. We're sort of trying to find a balance between lesser known and. Oh, Stasi has entered the room. Oh, he said hello. He wants to say hello, everyone. You can't pick it up because he's so. Well, he's loud for us, but
Waiting
quiet.
for this one to rest.
Yeah. He'll get comfy. He's been addressed on the show, so at least he's not left out. So a storm very suddenly arrives. We had that with Triangle, I think, that storm that sort of just appears.
Oh yeah, and then that's like that goes within minutes, doesn't it?
They show up and go, just like in a matter of seconds. It was very strange. But I feel like we had another film recently that did that. What did we do last? Oh, it was the Look-See. No, it didn't have that. It wasn't that. I don't know, but films like to have storms randomly come out of fucking nowhere for no reason and then disappear. Daphne notices that the ghost pterodactyl, I can't speak, comes to life and it breaks free. They're in these like glass display cabinets, but somehow the costume becomes possessed, as we'll find out later on the reasons why. A mysterious villain makes his presence known before escaping using a pterodactyl. This character reminded me of the old Power Rangers villains. Just they were very silly. They're clearly dudes in costumes, but they're designed to be very threatening.
See,
Nearly. He's nearly fell asleep. Let me just show you the old Power Rangers villains.
I thought I was gonna have to do some merch, being like cat resting on my hand.
Like this. Are these sort of old costumes? Very bulky.
And
As I say, it's clearly a dude in a costume. That's what he looks like. It doesn't look threatening. It's just bulky. Da-da-da.
I apologise if you lot can hear something being pulled about. A lot of screaming. We have a cat who has a thing about
Cat screaming. Cat screaming, not human screaming, oh loud. Yeah, it's Stasi the cat who represents Amelia thumbnail, who, as of next episode, or even this episode, I may change it to be that Silver is. He's rested his mittens, he's happy. But in the old episodes, for example, Scary Movie 2, Amelia is Stasi Pan Fluffington the Third.
I think because everything that's going on with Silver, you guys probably don't know, but he's terminally ill.
He is 18, though, but he's done well.
Yeah, so obviously we're not going to have him for much longer because of the type of illness we have. So I think I would want him to represent me. as in memory.
Yeah, like a legacy sort of thing. But anyway, the mysterious villain escapes using the pterodactyl armor and another costume with him. We don't see the costume until Fred mentions it. It's the tar monster costume. It's just made of slime or tar, specifically, if you want to be an arse. Velma looks under the plinth that held the pterodactyl, finding a trapdoor. Oh, Stars is screaming. Back at their HQ, they have a big fucking like penthouse for a Scooby-Doo headquarters. The gang wallows in their embarrassment after the ridicule from Heather, because, as I've mentioned in previous episodes, you've got to love the journalists.
Heather never. Congratulations on your transition.
That could be merch on your channel. For some context, Amelia did it because it's June. It's Pride Month. Also, Men's Mental Health Awareness Month. Just as important. Not gonna specify. It's important that we mention that because Pride does take up a lot of the main spotlight.
Well, yeah, it does.
But forgot where I was going with this. She did a makeup. She did an ASMR thing, and someone commented thinking she transitioned into a fucking female. I want to clarify. She is cis. If that's what they look. She's not trans. None of that.
I'm 100% biological female.
She is super cis. Super not trans. So anyway, Shaggy and Scoob agree to become better detectives. They just pretend to be competent, essentially. The gang discussed the original man in the pterodactyl, Jacobo, played by Tim Blake Nelson, and how he was unable to escape prison, but figured it could be an associate named Jeremiah Winkles, played by Peter Boyles, who originally wore the Black Knight armor. They do say in this scene he fell to his death, but spoilers ahead, this is not the case. I was literally about to be like, Jacobo fell and died. Best kill, worst kill, Jacobo. Nah, that's not fair. The gang decide to visit Jeremiah, who of course lives in a big fucking scary mansion. It looks like the original What's New Scooby-Doo mansion, and I feel like that was intentional. Like the one from the opening credits, we wish we could sing along to, but we'll probably get claimed. Well, no, I don't think it is What's New Scooby-Doo. Yeah, that one. Oh, fucking it. Sorry, I've accidentally just got the play set up, and that's just taken me back. Yeah, they were cool. Anyway, my apologies. I'm getting so. No way! They did a Lego set? Sorry, I might have ADHD, which would explain why I'm just like, Lego! Oh, that is real. Anyway, sorry, we'll get right back on track with the actual review. Two random kids insult them. It's very weird. They just ride up on their bikes and start chatting shit, and then just fuck off. After ringing the doorbell twice, a trapdoor opens, sending a bad CGI ball containing them down the track. Yeah, that was a bit weird. It didn't look great. But
I never questioned it.
It's early 2000 CGI. Yeah, it wasn't great looking.
But
it was probably the pinnacle.
You know how when Daphne opens the door?
Yeah, with her magic hairpin or whatever.
Yeah, that's where she used to fasten.
No, it was. She used like foundation or something to get the fingerprint.
Yeah, and then like some paper.
Anyway, multiple people are also down there, like the postman and other shit. Daphne releases the prisoners using her makeup and what I called movie magic. The gang splits up to explore. Shaggy and Scooby have some silly antics, of course, while the others find a book that is revealed to be instructions on how to make monsters. Scooby and Shaggy are ambushed by the Black Knight, and the gang are all eventually caught up in the chase. They find out that they are monsters as opposed to people in costumes this time round. May I add that is after Daphne tries to stab him in the stomach with a sword. So it's a good thing that wasn't a fucking guy in a costume. Velma eventually finds his weak point, which, because it's a kid's film, happens to be his fucking balls. His metallic nutsack, which doesn't make sense for him to have because he's a ghost. I feel like I'm watching an Adam Sandler film. And of course, she kicks him in the nuts, and they all flee as he understandably writhes around in pain. At the HQ, Velma discovers that an element is used to make monsters can be found in a local silver mine. Look, silver mine. I wish we could go find more silvers.
No, I'm happy with this one. This is like,
Well, what if we found more silver that kept him alive forever? He's fueled by silver. And 10p's of silver.
but then
Anyway.
you'd have to find me something to keep me alive forever. It's not an addiction. Or so you want me to just sit there and eat paper?
That was an awkward silence. Anyway, she suddenly hides when Patrick arrives and Daphne follows her, offering dating advice, which is great considering that her and Fred have just been awkwardly flirting with each other for 1.5 films. Daphne gives Velma a makeover, which she's uncomfortable wearing, and they leave in the mystery machine. She's basically in a bright orange catsuit, looking like Catwoman from the Arkham games. It's orange, I think. It's orangey red. It's like a dark orange. Why is Velma job? Oh no, it's red. Excuse me. Yeah, it was very weird how they. I understand it was meant to be a funny moment, but they sort of sexualized her a bit, and
Yeah, they kind of did.
yeah, it was a bit weird. Shaggy and Scooby head off, following a clue they discovered, arriving at an old pub that contains people they know from unmasking them as monsters. They enter in disguise and accidentally stumble across Winkles, who tells them that most of the people there regret what they did. I will say, the disguise is very similar to Scooby dressing up as Grandma in the first one.
Yeah.
Before leaving, Scoob dances with a woman, causing him to lose his disguise and act as a patron. And of course, they escape. The others come across the museum after it has been robbed and find Heather, because of course. Oh, Starzoo's getting on my chair. Bless him. Because of course, journalists love a fucking easy job. First one there, first one get the story, first one to get all the money. If you don't know, if you couldn't notice, I don't like journalists.
I know. This is why you could never
Why?
be more popular.
I'll just tell them to fuck off.
Because then they'll paint
You don't tell them nothing. Well, it's like in this film, all she does is give them shit and take what they say out of context. They head inside, finding that the remainder of the costumes have also been stolen. Patrick leaves in frustration, and Daphne decides she's had enough of Heather's bullshit and confronts her. However, our masked villain, our Power Rangers villain, makes his return before swiftly disappearing. Shaggy and Scooby accidentally find Patrick ordering a random man to find information about the robbery. They spot Winkles and leave to pursue him instead. Patrick is I will spoil it again. Patrick isn't our villain, but I don't get why he was so threatening in this scene. Doing the tough guy act. It's revealed later on that he is a good guy and not an arsehole. Or our villain. Silver's very happy where he is right now, bless him.
I think he's fine. Still.
Yeah, he's had some medication, so I think he's a bit zonked at the minute.
He's also given me. He's paranoid of my top stomach, and that's kind of making me tired because he's giving me that effect, you know.
Yeah, it's you ordered, just making me do it. Winkles arrives at the silver mine, followed by Scooby and Shaggy. The rest of the gang also arrive at the scene. Somehow. Winkles was confronted by Fred, however they misinterpreted suspicious activities as evil, but he was meeting investors for a planned mine-themed amusement park involving child labour. That was a weird throwaway sort of scene, wasn't it? Because he's like, we can make all the money getting getting the silver that the kids mine. Yeah. I put suspicious activities as evil, but in reality, planning on opening an amusement park that's powered by child labour. Evil. That's your average CEO of a corporation.
That's your average government shit.
That's your average company that is named after a rainforest, allegedly.
It's like one
For legal reasons, that's a joke.
Was it Blency?
Probably. Allegedly. For legal reasons, that's a joke. We have to throw that in there. Anyway, going past the child labour.
I don't know why you're like.
Because I don't want to get sued.
I mean, fuck, we ain't got nothing on them compared to what they've got.
Yeah, well, but they can sue us. They're big.
Just want to clarify to everyone, we're broke as fuck, so there's no point. I mean, we're 1k in debt. Fuck you. There's no point in suing us.
For legal reasons, that is not a joke. That's actual. But here we are. We watch silly films and we. Shaggy accidentally causes. Oh, hang on, I'm on the wrong one. Shaggy and Scooby end up heading further down the mine. You listen to what I'm saying. It's like, I remember this film from when me and Sissy watched it when we were young.
So was that in my younger day?
Back in my day. Anyway. They both take turns drinking potions to varying effects. The usual Scooby-Doo antics. If I went into the description, this fucking entire review would be about 4 hours long of all the different things they were drinking.
Well, it's the only interesting one is when Scooby can actually talk and you can understand him.
Yeah, he's like an intellectual, and then Shaggy's a big fucking...
puffed up guy.
Yeah, he's big and muscular. The others hear them and head down, reuniting, and discover the chamber where the costumes are turned into real monsters. And this causes Velma to conclude that Patrick is the villain. Shaggy accidentally causes the machine to activate, creating more monsters. The others join him and spot the other monsters, and the gang races to deactivate the machine and try to escape.
It bothers me that really song, didn't they?
Did they?
Yeah, when they were like playing with the buttons.
Mm. The villain rages through the city on a ghostly pirate ship. I didn't know he could... Where did he get the fucking pirate? All he had was a costume. How was he going to fit? I just thought of that.
As I said,
You don't until you sit around with me. Demanding that they surrender Mystery Incorporated. Heather begs them over the news to surrender before Black Knight cutting the feed. The gang wind up back at their old high school clubhouse after escaping. The gang reminisce about their past as a team. They have this really weird flashback with all our main cast dubbing over the voices of the younger cast, except for Scooby-Doo that looks exactly the same. This is basically, in the business we call this foreshadowing for later on when they need to do basically the same thing. They figure out that if they rewire the machine's control panel, they can reverse the monster process. And then we have a big montage of them working on the machine together. Outside, the ghosts emerge from the lake. I say the ghosts. It's the big diving suit from the cartoons. Captain something, Captain Cutler. No, Custer. I was thinking Custer, but that was the American Civil War. He emerges from the lake, causing the gang to flee once more. This is after. What do they do to him? Because they inflate him and he flies off into the lake.
yeah, they because he had like a couple of like arrows that he put.
Oh, the harpoons.
Yeah, but he put into the back of the van, and obviously because he kept pulling them back. So I think it was Fred who was driving, and he literally.
Oh, he hits him. Yeah, he hits him with it, and he
him.
launches him out into the. Yeah, I remember now. They eventually arrive at the mine where they are met by who challenges Fred to a joust match, which he accepts. Fred just finds a fucking working chopper that's in like perfect condition under a sheet.
It's brilliant how that was just.
He just walks off like he knew it was there the whole time and just got petrol in it. It's still running. Sure. Which he accepts the duel. Daphne is separated from the others by an electric. I did like the design of the electric ghost. It reminded me of
So spark.
Ghostbusters. Yeah. It was called like the 40,000 volt ghost or something like that. Fred and Daphne succeed in their ghosts, but are defeated by being thrown into each other. They get sort of. Daphne gets launched fucking ages and survives. Velma encourages Shaggy and Scooby to fight their fears and be heroes. The Black Knight attempts to intimidate Daphne and Fred, but they talk him down temporarily before he chases them away. Fred and Daphne defeat the Black Knight and the Electric Ghost. Scooby and Shaggy defeat Minor 49er. Another villain who I didn't mention earlier, but there you go.
Yeah.
I'm not going to mention all of them unless they're important. Velma escapes these two skeletal ghosts. They're very silly. It's like slapstick, like comedy. It's very weird. But loses her glasses. My glasses. Etc. We've all seen these cartoons before. My legs are. Oh, right. She discovers a shrine devoted to Jacobo, who was seemingly an old professor of Patrick's, who happens to show up at that exact time. This is never really explained, I don't think. She runs from him, and after a catwalk collapses, he catches her and persuades her to trust him. And after saving her, he is grabbed and taken by a pterodactyl. Realistically, he should probably die. That pterodactyl should just gone. Anyway, this is a kid's film after all. Can we have a rated R Scooby-Doo film where the monsters like maul people to death? That'd be cool. Anyway. Shaggy and Scooby are ambushed by a giant ghost made from cotton candy. Because they're foodies, as you like to call them, I like to call them fat bastards.
Oh my god, this like scene.
Like the big ghost sort of appears and like threatens and like tries to intimidate him, but their faces like just light up with joy and just shits himself. And they of course eat this big ghost made of cotton candy, like whole essentially. They rip him apart, but he's cotton candy, so it's PG. It's PG-13. The gang reunites and attempts to make it to the machine, but stopped by the villain and the ghost. Group passes the control handle between one another as they are captured one by one by the tar monster, who makes his grand reappearance for about 5 minutes until he gets destroyed by a fire extinguisher. Scooby ends up as the last one free and uses a fire extinguisher in order to freeze the tar monster and make a run for the machine, successfully reinstalling the control panel, destroying the monsters, and freeing the gang. The villain ends up falling through the same gap Velma did and apprehend them. They unmask him, revealing Heather as the movie's villain, and a cameraman Ned as an assistant. However, it's not over yet. They unmask Heather, revealing Jacobo to be alive, and he is taken away by the police, which confuses the shit out of her cameraman, who possibly had romantic connections with her, but him even, so yeah, he's going to have to think about that. Velma and Patrick speak to one another and agree to go on a date with each other. Shaggy and Scoob take pictures with the press as Daphne and Fred embrace. Everyone ends up back at the former villain hangout. Why did I say the villain hangout? The former, like, HQ, and the movie ends. And that is Scooby-Doo 2 Monsters Unleashed. The sequel to the first one, obviously. So, Amelia, what are your general thoughts?
I mean, I liked it. I still kind of think So,
I think you're a bit biased because you've seen it so much when you were younger that you sort of love it for nostalgia.
mm,
I definitely very much enjoyed it. I don't weirdly, I don't think it's as iconic as the first one. It wasn't as well received as the first one as well, even though it was more faithful as an adaptation.
I'm gonna give it a 9 because so.
Yeah, I think I'll give it 7.5. Mainly just because of those like inconsistencies I brought up, like where the fuck does the ghost ship come from, and other bits and pieces like that. But no, still very solid. Also, I can't remember what I gave the first one, but I think I enjoyed the first one more.
Yeah, I can't remember either.
But either way, it was very enjoyable. Definitely would recommend. And we watched it on DVD, so that answers Amelia's question of whether or not she liked it. But of course, that's been. I do apologise. Our upload schedule when it comes to reviews is because of our third host. Bless his heart. If there's no uploads for the reviews for a while, it's pretty obvious what's happened. So please bear with us on that front. We will do our best to. It could be that I end up doing some solo reviews. You never know. But for now, I have been Purple Midnight 8 representing the Nova Project, the channel that is this is uploaded on. Joined as ever by my wonderful co-host slash fiance Amelia. Do you want to plug your usual shit?
Pet all ASMR, the Obsidian Nook.
Yeah, you'll find the Obsidian Nook linked in the description. You'll find our letterbox down there. I just wanted to update that. We have separated it into two lists because it's difficult when you've got two people who rate films completely depending on because you look at it less critically, whereas I'm more critical. So it's just like, where's a place we can agree on? But now, if you go to our letterbox, you can see that it is separate now, so that you can see where we've rated it each. So anyway,
Silver does have his own Instagram, but
Silver has an Instagram. I might.
Silver the Kitty 18. So if you want updates on his health, how he's,
Or if you just want to see more pictures of him,
or see what he's doing throughout his day, you can follow him on there.
yeah, he's probably. I think he's in the following of our YouTube, Instagram. I should think so. I think I've followed him on all my accounts. You can find him there, or I'll try and link it in the description of this video. But anyway, for now, we have been. Well, I've been the Nova Project. Well, one half of it. The second half of it is missing in action most of the time, so don't rely on him for consistency. So yeah, we'll see you sometime in the future. We'll be back with reviews eventually. It's just me for a little while.
And we'll see you in 2049.
Yeah.
Joke.
We'll see you all later. And have a good day. And all that shit. I don't know. Toodaloo.
Have a good.
Have a good. Well, it's going to be out at like 3 o'clock or something tomorrow.
Anyway, you worked hard. Get to bed.
Yeah, go to sleep if you're up when we're recording this. It's 10 past 11 at night. Silver's ready for bed. Anyway, enough of this prolonged outro. We'll see you sometime in the future.